Hello and welcome to Diaspora Network, where we showcase Nigerians who are doing the country proud in the different continents of the world. I'm Teniola Oyetayo. On the show today, we look at outstanding Nigerian physicians in the diaspora who are adding value through diagnosing, treating and preventing illnesses. Our special report focuses on migrating doctors and their contribution to host countries. Well, before we delve into our interesting lineup for today, let's take a look at the news of the week.
The US President Joe Biden has selected 2 Nigerian professionals into his advisory council from the worlds of basketball to banking. The Nigerians in Diaspora Commission's chairman, Honorable Abike Dabiri Erewa, has congratulated Chini Ogumwike and Osagi Imasogi, who are now part of the 12-member Advisory Council on Africa Diaspora Engagement. The Advisory Council represents the diversity of the African diaspora from African American communities around America and African immigrant communities across the continent and the Caribbean. The 2-time WNBA All-Star, executive producer and NBA analyst Ogumike has previously been recognized as being the first black woman to host a national daily sports talk radio show, which led her to become an honoree in Forbes 30 Under 30 list. Osagi Imasogi is the co-founder of private equity firm PIPV Capital and serves on the board of a number of financial institutions which manage over $28 billion. British Vogue has announced that Chioma Nnamdi will be replacing the outgoing Edward Enningful as the new head of editorial content starting on October 9th. Chioma becomes the first black woman to edit for the fashion magazine. The 44-year-old began her career on the features desk of the Evening Standard in London. She went on to work as a music-focused style director at Fader, and in 2014, Chioma joined Vogue to help with the relaunch of Vogue.com. Chioma, who will also work in the music and culture department, says that the new job title is not insignificant and that her main focus will be on digital storytelling and keeping Vogue interactive with readers. 27-year-old computer scientist Inioluwa Deborah Raji has been honoured as a member of Time magazine's 100 Most Influential People in Artificial Intelligence. Her journey began when she was a fellow at Mozilla Foundation, where she noticed content featuring people of colour was automatically being flagged as explicit, even when it wasn't. Inioluwa redirected her passion and expertise towards ensuring AI companies take responsibility for the harm their models may cause. Raji's dedication to creating a more ethical AI ecosystem has garnered her widespread recognition, such as being hailed as one of the world's top young innovators by both MIT Technology Review and Forbes, as well as working with tech giants such as Microsoft, Amazon and IBM. Her unwavering commitment to addressing bias, promoting accountability and advocating for transparency continues to drive meaningful change in the ever-evolving AI landscape. Juliana Olayinka with the Diaspora Network News Wrap in London.
For some Nigerian doctors in the diaspora, their career journey kicked off back home. Through hard work, consistency and skill, they have attained enviable heights and received global recognition for their work. Let's bring you some of them.
I'm Chuka Wokolo, Treasurer of the Royal College of Physicians.
Anambra-born Nigerian medical doctor Chuka Wokolo is amongst prominent consultants in medical practice in the UK. He received his primary, secondary and tertiary education in Nigeria and moved to the UK over 4 decades ago. After over 40 years of consistency, diligence and hard work, Dr. Wokolo is an honorary professor of gastroenterology at Warwick Medical School. He's also UK's representative on the European Board of Gastroenterology and has held top positions at the Royal College of Physicians since 2016. He's also played a key role in promoting the value of research across the medical field. For his efforts during the COVID pandemic, Dr. Wokolo was knighted by the Queen of England with the Commander of the Order of British Empire (CBE) in the Queen's 2021 birthday honours. Dr. Njedika Oduchi is yet another shining example of doctors who are making the country proud. She's a graduate of medicine from the University of Nigeria with over 33 years of experience and excellence in her field with long-standing character of integrity. In 2021, the Nigerian-born physician became the first black female to emerge Family Physician of the Year in Maryland, United States. The award was bestowed on her by the Maryland Academy of Family Physicians. Dr. Udochi was selected from 6 candidates for her exemplary character and embodiment of the values and traditions of a model family physician, as well as her contributions. She is board certified by the American Board of Family Medicine. She worked as a medical director for Baltimore's Healthcare for the Homeless. Another exceptional medical practitioner flying the Nigerian flag high in the diaspora is Dr. Bankole A. Johnson. He's a licensed physician and board-certified psychiatrist throughout Europe and the United States, who served as alumni professor and chairman of the Department of Psychiatry and Neurobehavioral Sciences at the University of Virginia. He's a respected global authority in psychiatry, substance use, psychopharmacology, neuroscience, psychopharmacology of medications for treating addictions. In 2002, he received the Distinguished Senior Scholar of Distinction Award from the National Medical Association, was inducted into the Texas Hall of Fame in 2003 for his contributions to science, mathematics, and technology. In 2004, Dr. Johnson accepted an appointment to serve as alumni professor and chairman of the Department of Psychiatry, and in 2019, he was named as a recipient of the American Society of Addiction Medicines. These and many more Nigerian doctors have distinguished themselves through their contribution towards the development of medicine globally.
The rate of migration of Nigerian doctors may be alarming, but many believe there's also a silver lining. Here's what we found about this movement and how it benefits host countries.
According to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, Nigeria is one of the 3 leading African sources of foreign-born physicians. Another data from the British government shows that the number of Nigerians under the healthcare category of the skilled work visa rose by 263.7% from 6,125 to 22,278 between June 2022 and June 2023. This follows the country's easy migration policy for healthcare professionals due to shortage of workers as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic outbreak. Apart from foreign nations like the UK, US, Canada, and the United Arab Emirates, African countries like Ghana, Sierra Leone, and the Gambia are also recruiting Nigerian doctors in large numbers.
I believe that practicing medicine in Nigeria was just getting a bit more hostile, and I just wanted to be able to thrive, so that was the reason I decided to make the move. Practicing medicine in Nigeria felt like we were pouring our hearts into it and we weren't really getting anything back in terms of remuneration or even recognition, or basically just quality of life. The effort wasn't equal to the output we were getting in return, and that was just definitely a major factor for me with deciding to move.
Although the mass exodus of these talents come at great cost for Nigeria's medical sector, the migration cycle also has its benefits, one of which is the contribution of Nigerian doctors to host countries and global medical practice. With the knowledge and skill acquired back home, they are utilizing the huge opportunities in diaspora to develop themselves and make important contributions to medical teams and patients on a global scale. With an innate spirit of excellence that thrives in Nigerians, they face the challenges that comes with transitioning and adapting to different workplace cultures and medical traditions, with a handful taking up higher roles in the profession, which is incredibly rewarding for them and making a real difference for their patients.
We zeroed in on an award-winning Nigerian medical director and family medicine consultant in the United Arab Emirates.
Dr. Nto brings with her over 20 years' worth of medical experience. She is a UK-trained general practitioner and family medicine physician with postgraduate award of membership of the Royal College of General Practitioners and a diploma in sexual and reproductive health from London. She is the first of 4 children and grew up in Enugu State, southeast Nigeria.
I remember Enugu with lots of fond memories, and I can tell you what I mean by that. I mean, I look at my boys now, I've got 2 boys, and I remember just playing with other kids in sand, just, cooking, playing mother. I climbed quite a couple of trees, just how ladylike I look now. Climbed the walls, yes, fantastic adventures. It was very mischievous, I have to say. I liked that we also had a huge extended family. I liked going out to see my cousins. I liked during the Christmas, which is one of the very common things we do in a lot of Nigerian homes. You go back home and down to your roots, and then you go for all those parties or events or, so yes, happy childhood, I have to say. Yeah, and also a lot of faith-based meetings as well, which I think also has played into my moral values. Dad was, so his background was chemical pathology, a bit of microbiology, and he used to work at University of Nigeria, Enugu campus, yeah, while I was living in Enugu. And then later on, a bit later, he went on to work in Imo State University. So I've always grown up in an academic environment, and I think also that has colored my perspective in life is, for me and for all of us, education is the norm. I think that's just been the way we were brought up.
Dr. Njideka attended the Independence Layout Primary School in Enugu, and for her secondary education, she studied at the Federal Government College, Owerri. She bagged an MBBS from Abia State University, and right after, moved to the UK for her postgraduate degree in family medicine, and her work life kicked off from there.
I remember very clearly when I first went into a hospital, Chase Farm Hospital in London, and North London, and everywhere was neat, clean. It was a stark difference. I love my country, don't get me wrong. It depends on which side, but yeah. So it was, and everyone treated everyone with respect. It didn't matter whether you were a porter or you were a nurse or you were a consultant. It didn't matter. You were important in your own right. That struck me. And I think the sense of responsibility, again, that struck me as well. So I think I did have a degree of culture shock, and of course the roads, everything was tarred, to have all tarred roads, and I'm thinking, oh my God. So yeah, yes, definitely. I think you're coming from a third world country to one that isn't. There's going to be things that stand out. But I did miss home. It's important to also understand, also for UK and a lot of the European countries, they've also transitioned on their perspective on international graduates. Fair play, they're a lot more open to international talent as well, and how you can leverage on that. I mean, the two sides to a coin. The way I see life is, I don't see color, I don't see sex, I don't say they don't exist, but I am intentional about it not coloring my perspective, because otherwise, for me, what I see is value. I always say to my boys, it doesn't matter whether you're white or black or pink or green, whatever, just bring value to the table. Value always speaks. It doesn't matter where you are. And so maybe that helped me to manage some of the not so great times like everybody else would experience. Even when I came out to UAE, I also had a bit of culture shock. I was coming from England, and the first 3 months I cried a lot. I wanted to go back to the UK. So I think with anyone coming into a new environment, an environment that is alien to you, particularly when you don't have a support network to give you a bit of buffering, it can be tough. So I was a young lady who went out, and my family wasn't there with me at that point in time. So it wasn't the easiest of times, but I saw the opportunities. I saw what could be, And that was driving me. That drove me beyond the challenges. I'm not going to say to you there were no challenges. I remember the once I went onto the ward and I said to one of the doctors, this was while I was still taking my exams, and I said to her, oh, can you, I would like to understand how you look at MRI scans, CT scans. I'm a doctor, she went like, because then I was working as a healthcare assistant while I was taking my examinations. And she looked at me like, seriously? Like, I don't believe you. But I knew what I was. So I was, even though I wasn't working in a capacity of a physician, I was intentional about understanding how the health system works. So I wasn't just seeing it from the perspective in the role that I was in. I was seeing, okay, this is what I could be.
She currently works as a medical director at an ambulatory daycare facility in Dubai and oversees a number of satellite clinics. She also works for one of the biggest private healthcare providers in South Africa, with branches in Namibia, Switzerland, UK and the Middle East.
Coming up on the program, our chat with Dr Nto. Please stay with us.
Driven by her desire to add value and inspire others through exemplary leadership, she swiftly rose through the ranks.
Frankly, it wasn't the easiest decision to make because prior to that, I had not come out to Dubai. My faith-based approach to life, to major decisions, my spirituality, that enables me to make decisions when it becomes very difficult and I don't have the clear picture. I like to deal with certainty. I don't mind complexity, but I would rather create certainty, a degree of certainty in the midst of complexity. Health-seeking behavior of the patients. In England, everybody understood A&E is different from a GP surgery, and they also understood as different from a tertiary place. And in some cases, people understood what a hospice is there for, end-of-life palliative care. That wasn't quite the picture when I came out to Dubai, because you have people from all over the world coming from different health systems and different health expectations and different health-seeking behavior, and having to navigate through all that, I think was one of the biggest challenges for me initially. And well, I got through there eventually, but so yes, then I moved on to join Mediclinic. So my first journey with Mediclinic was at a place called Mediclinic Medif, which was my first family. And I was there for about 3 years. I always like to tell the story of my journey in Mediclinic, because in some respects, it's not just about being a doctor. It has helped to form a lot of who I've become, particularly for the opportunities I've had with the organization. I went in there as a clinician, as a family medicine specialist, but because there were a lot of things I saw work well in the UK, when I came on board, I just thought, okay, why don't we get this to work here as well? Why is that relevant to the story I'm telling you? Is when people say to me, how come you eventually became a medical director? When I started out, it wasn't the game plan to be a medical director. I was just a girl interested in clinical governance, patient safety, and optimizing the care you deliver to patients. That's what drives me, and that's what still drives me. But you see, it's about value. It's about value. Is when you want to give the best, the opportunity to give the best will come there. When you want to drive change and change for the good, you may not be able to change the whole world, but you can start at where you're at. Just that little change. Because the thing about being a change maker, motivator, facilitator, is not just the immediate change you create in the environment, but the fact that you inspire other people to have the courage to foster the change beyond your capacity and what you're able to do. So for me, is value, bringing value to the table, but inspiring others to foster that value.
She speaks about her many achievements and recognitions.
I'm very passionate about clinical governance. I'm passionate about patient safety and quality. These two things I am very passionate about. And so when I look back at branches, one of the things I'm very pleased about, I am passionate about medical education research. And so one of the few things I look back on in the time I've been, let me start off with Dubai Mall, is getting the accreditation to part of a team that has been able to achieve a training, being accredited as a training facility by DHA. And it's interesting to see that we started out with just one specialty. We started out with family medicine. Of course, I'm a family medicine practitioner, so there's that bias on there. But then that medical education training has gone on, expanded to include dermatology, OBGYN, now rheumatology, bit of general surgery, and seeing those medical students come in, get trained, have an experience, form and guide what sort of specialist areas they intend to pursue in the future. I feel that's the legacy I can leave. I want, when I'm at the age of 80, I can trust these medical students to take care of me. And so that's what I say to my physician educators is, think to yourself that one day we're going to be too old to take care of ourselves. What legacy have we left behind? Not just for ourselves, but as a service to our lives as physicians.
She believes determination is the key to unlocking achievements.
When I got this role, at the time when I got it, I was the first female medical director actually among all the medical directors at that point in time, up until maybe the last 2 years. For a while, I was the only female medical director for a while. And so for a lot of people, my position and role spoke volumes in terms of what it symbolized. So I had female physicians reach out to me and say to me, thank you for giving us a voice. I had people from what you class ethnic minorities in terms of what country you come from reach out to me and say, now I feel like it's doable. And is what you call breaking the glass ceiling. And I always say to myself, it's always going to break that glass ceiling, it has to be me. I say that to my boys, it has to be me. I can't say to you it's always been easy. No, I'll be lying to you if I say that. So there are hoops to cross. Look, you have to believe in the possibilities. I can't say it any more than that. You have to believe if nobody else is going to do it, I'm going to do it. If nobody else has been there, I'm going to be the one that's going to get there. And so when it got a little bit challenging, I remember those. And then I remind myself, NJ, you're not just standing for yourself. You're a voice for the ladies who feel like we need to break the glass ceiling. And moving forward, like I said, I mentor, I coach a lot of my clinical team, non-clinical team, mates, outside work. And I think back at where I started from, and I'll say to them, darling, where you're sitting at now is the least place you can be. See the future. See the possibilities. I don't know how else I can say, but it is possible. That one thing you think, look, I remember I said to myself, the first time before I got into the Harvard Business School courses, and I used to hear Harvard. I thought, I'd like to do something with Harvard. And I remember putting in my application for one of the leadership courses. I mean, you can do them online. And I thought, well, I wonder. And I'm sitting, I'm waiting, I'm thinking, are they going to respond to me? Are they going to think my pedigree is strong enough? I'm thinking all these things. Then I did that, did the second one, did the third one. All right, okay. This is what I mean. So you're always going to have that initial period when you're thinking like, is this doable? Can I do it? But again, I always go back to my spirituality and my faith-based approach enables some of the, what you call audacity or courage, and that's the truth. But also I think I've been blessed with having a supportive network, particularly my husband. He believes in me. He sees the me I don't see. So times when I get discouraged, he will say to me, when I see ladies I look up to, he will say, you see that woman, you're going to get to where she is. I see you that way. So it's important to have people who believe in you.
In the area of improving Nigeria's health sector, she has some recommendations.
I think what reaches out to me the most is the access to care. is the access to skilled professionals and the increasing brain drain. And the fact that, what are we all doing to empower our healthcare system back home? I think we need to have enabling structures that fosters optimized healthcare and service provision. And there's a lot to it. I don't believe that a quick fix or an interim solution is the answer. I believe we should have sustainable healthcare systems, and that definitely needs governance frameworks around about leadership, the right skill set in the right positions, funding, who's paying, access to care, irrespective of your social status or where you are in the country. But above all, empathy, our duty of care to the patients should underpin how we address the problems we have in our health systems. I acknowledge that brain drain is a big one. How do we incentivize our clinical teams to stay back home? How do we keep them engaged? It's not just the hospital's responsibility.
Well, what an inspiring story. Well, that's it on this edition of the program. You can catch the show on our website, channelcv.com. I'm Tenyola Oyetayo. See you next time for more interesting stories.